Today we'll study the triangles of the neck, the next part of the your neck. Okay. So today the triangles of the neck are the what are the various triangles which are present in the neck and their boundaries, their contents. Always study in these triangles of the neck the various boundaries which are made up of this the triangles. Okay, now as you can see, so there is the side of the neck is roughly quadrilateral. As you can see here, it's roughly quadrilateral, and this is, you can see this. I'll use the different color for this. So this is quadrilateral, this is roughly quadrilateral. Okay, and it is bounded anteriorly by the anterior median line. This is the anterior median line. Okay, posteriorly by the interior border of the trapezius. See, this is the trapezius, so this is the interior border of the trapezius. Okay, this is trapezius, so this is interior border of trapezius. Okay, now superiorly by the base of the mandible. Now this is the base of mandible, this is the base of mandible, and by a line joining the angle of the mandible to the mastoid process. Okay, the base of the mandible is the line joining the angle of the base of an angle of the mandible to the mastoid process, and last is the and the superior nuchal line and inferior by the clavicle. So inferiorly by the clavicle, this is the clavicle. So these are the various boundaries of the triangles of the neck. Okay, you can say this is the triangles of the neck. It contains the various triangles. So anteriorly by the anterior median line, posteriorly by the anterior border of the trapezius, superiorly by the base of the mandible, that is the line joining the angle of the mandible to the mastoid process, and the nuchal line, superior nuchal line. Okay, and the lower border, the lower border is by the superior border of the clavicle. So this constitutes the triangle of the neck. It's a basically quadrilateral in shape and divided into various triangles that we'll discuss in the next slides. So the quadrilateral space is divided obliquely by the sternocleidomastoid muscle into the anterior and the posterior muscle. Which is the interior and the posterior muscle? See, this is your sternocleidomastoid. Okay, so this sternocleidomastoid divides the your quadrilateral space into this anterior triangle, okay, and this posterior triangle. This is the division of quadrilateral space into two parts. Okay, now the next part is the next part. So okay, we have seen the various borders of the quadrilateral space and the division of the quadrilateral space by the trapezius into interior triangle and the posterior triangle. Okay, now next is what is the posterior triangle. First we will study the posterior triangle. Okay, now the posterior triangle is a space on the side of the neck situated between the sternocleidomastoid muscle behind the. So this space is, you can say this is your posterior triangle. Okay, so this is situated behind this sternocleidomastoid muscle. This is your sternocleidomastoid muscle, and it is situated behind the sternocleidomastoid muscle. That's why it is called as posterior triangle. Okay, that's why it is called as posterior triangle. And what are the boundaries of this posterior triangle? So boundaries of posterior triangle is anterior by the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, anteriorly by the posterior border of sternocleidomastoid means this is your posterior border of sternocleidomastoid, posterior by the anterior border of trapezius. So this is your trapezius, this is your sternocleidomastoid. So posteriorly by the anterior border of trapezius, okay, and inferiorly by the or base is by the middle 1/3 of clavicle, middle 1/3 of clavicle. This change the color. Now this is the base of the middle 1/3 of the clavicle, okay, and so apex lies on the superior nuchal line where the trapezius and sternocleidomastoid meet. See, this is your apex where the sternocleidomastoid and your sternocleidomastoid and trapezius meet. This makes the apex of the posterior triangle. Okay, so this is about the posterior triangle, and the boundaries of the posterior triangle. Note, see, next see the boundaries of the posterior triangle. Note that the inferior belly of omohyoid divides the triangle into upper occipital and lower subclavicular parts. Now see, this is your trapezius, this is your sternocleidomastoid, and this is your trapezius. Okay, now a muscle from the belly of omohyoid. This is your omohyoid, this is your this you can say the superior belly of omohyoid and the inferior belly of the omohyoid. So this is the inferior belly, this is your inferior belly of the omohyoid, and this is the superior belly of the omohyoid. So this omohyoid is dividing the posterior triangle into superior occipital posterior part, okay, the posterior triangle occipital part, this one, and the lower supraclavicular part of the posterior triangle, this two. So this omohyoid, the inferior belly of omohyoid is dividing the this omohyoid is dividing the posterior triangle into two parts, the upper occipital part and the lower supraclavicular part. Now next is what are the various contents of the posterior triangle. Okay, now the various contents of the posterior triangles are like the spinal accessory nerve, you can see here, or rather in the nerves, there are three contents, okay, the nerves, vessels and the lymph nodes. Now what are the various nerves which are present in the this posterior triangle? Spinal accessory nerve, the 12th cranial nerve, and 4 cutaneous branches of cervical plexus, lesser occipital, greater auricular, anterior cutaneous nerve of neck, and supraclavicular nerve. Okay, so this 4 cutaneous branches of cervical plexus, then muscular branches, 2 small branches to the levator scapulae, 2 small branches to the trapezius, then now to the rhomboids. This are spinal nerve, 4 cutaneous branches of cervical plexus, then muscular branches, 3 muscular branches, 2 small branches to the levator scapulae, 2 small branches to the trapezius, and now to the rhomboids. Okay, now upper part of brachial plexus also is the content of posterior triangle of neck. Okay, so the transverse cervical artery and vein and occipital artery, this is also the content of your this vessels. This is under the vessels. Okay, so these both arteries are transverse cervical artery and vein and the occipital artery. This is the content of your posterior triangle and occipital part, the posterior triangle occipital part. Now the what are the contents of your lymph nodes? Lymph nodes, what are the lymph nodes which are inside the this occipital part? So along the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, more in the lower parts of supraclavicular node, and a few of the upper angle occipital nodes. These are the lymph nodes which are present in occipital triangle of your what you can say your posterior triangle. Okay, now subclavian triangle is the other part of your posterior triangle. Okay, the various nerves which are present in subclavian triangle are the three trunks of brachial plexus, nerve to serratus anterior, that is the long thoracic nerve with nerve root 3, 5, 6, nerve to subclavius and suprascapular nerve. So these are the various nerves which are present in the your subclavian triangle. Okay, 4 nerves are present. The trunk of the brachial plexus, the 3 trunks of the brachial plexus is present inside this. You can say here. The 3 trunks are present. Nerves. The 3 trunks are present here. The subclavian part of your posterior triangle. Then now to the serratus anterior, nerve serratus anterior or long thoracic nerve, this what you can say nerve to subclavius and suprascapular nerve. These are the nerves which are present in the subclavian triangle. Now the third part of subclavian, what are the vessels which are present in this subclavian triangle? The third part of subclavian artery and subclavian vein. This is also present in this. Okay, suprascapular artery and vein, commencement of transverse cervical artery and termination of corresponding vein, and the lower part of external jugular vein. These all vessels are also present inside this your subclavian triangle. And the lymph nodes are a few members of supraclavicular chain as present inside this subclavian triangle. Okay, so these are the various contents of your posterior triangle. It is very important because it contains the brachial part of brachial plexus, which is and other various nerves and your vessels also, and your lymph nodes also. Now, sternocleidomastoid. A very important muscle of neck is sternocleidomastoid because it is the large and trapezius. These both muscles are the sternocleido and the sternomastoid rather. Here they have written also the name as sternomastoid. Okay, so sternomastoid and trapezius are the large superficial muscles of the neck. Both of them are supplied by the spinal part of accessory nerve. The trapezius, because of its main action on the shoulder girdle, is considered with the upper limb. Okay, and the sternomastoid is here described below. So sternocleidomastoid is and your what you can say trapezius. So they have considered trapezius into upper limb because its action is on the upper shoulder. Okay. Now the origin of sternal head. Sternal head is a tendinous and arises from the supralateral part of the front of manubrium sterna. See, here you can see the sternal head is tendinous, arises from the supralateral part of front of manubrium sterna. Here is your manubrium sterna. You can see this is your manubrium sterna. So the sternal head is tendinous and arises from the supralateral part of front of the manubrium sterna. Here, from here, supralateral part of the front of this. Okay, and inserted at the, where is the insertion? And this is the manubrial part. Okay, sternal part, and the clavicular head in muscular tendinous and arises from the medial 1/3. It arises from the medial 1/3 of the superior surface of clavicle. here. You see, I'm using different color for this. So red is your sternal head and this purple is your clavicular head. Okay, these are the two origins of sternocleidomastoid. Okay, now next is it passes deep to the sternal head and two heads blend below the middle of the neck. Between the two heads there is small triangular depression, the lesser suprascapular fossa overlying the internal jugular vein. Okay, now insertion, it is inserted by a thick tendon into the lateral surface of mastoid process. Now see, this is your mastoid process. See, this is your mastoid process. Okay, so mastoid process, it is a thick tendon into the lateral surface of, this is your lateral surface of mastoid process. So it is inserted here first. Change the color for this. So this is the mastoid process lateral surface, and by a thin aponeurosis into the lateral half of the supernucleal line. Yeah, here also. See, here also it is attached. Here it is attached in the lateral surface of the sterno. What you can say, this mastoid process and this superior nuchal line. Okay, now nerve supply. So sternocleidomastoid is a very important muscle of neck which brings about various movements of the neck. All the neck movements, the flexion, your rotation, side rotation. The main muscle in this all neck movements are the sternocleidomastoid is the main muscle for all these things. Okay, now nerve supply is by the spinal accessory nerve, provides the motor supply. It passes through the muscle branches of the ventral rami of C2 and are sensory proprioceptive. See, the motor part is by the spinal accessory nerve. Okay, the 12th cranial nerve, and the sensory part is from the ventral rami of C2 and C3. Okay, that is the proprioceptive also. Okay, the next is the very important part is what is the action of the sternocleidomastoid. As I told you, when one muscle contracts, it turns the face to the opposite side. See, when one muscle contracts, it turns the face to the opposite side. When your right is this, when your right is contracting, then you are turning the face to the opposite side. Okay, so you can see this tendinous part here in the neck. This is your sternocleidomastoid. This muscle, this you can feel even this muscle is your sternocleidomastoid. Okay, this. So when it contracts at the single side, okay, then it rotates the face on the opposite side, and you can feel this tendinous muscle very clearly. Okay, when it and it also tilts the head towards the shoulder. So this and this tilts the head towards the shoulder. It rotates, turns the face to the other side and tilts the head. Okay, when both muscles contract together, they draws the head forwards, as in eating and lifting the head from a pillow. So when you are eating something, so this action is done by your sternocleidomastoid when both are contracting simultaneously. So this muscle is this action is done by your sternocleidomastoid when you eat something, when you get up from the pillow while after lying. So this is very important. With the longer scoli, they flex the neck against resistance. See, if I am giving resistance here and flexing the neck, so this is the flexion. So when you flexes the neck like this, at this time along with the longer scoli, okay, the other small muscle of your head, this will brings about the flexion, and the reverse action helps in the forced inspiration. Okay, so in this manner the sternocleidomastoid acts in a different time. First, when it contracts at single place, so it rotates turns the face towards the other side and tilts the head towards the same shoulder. Okay, this is the action. And the other is when you both muscles contract with each other simultaneously at the time they contract like this. Brings about the flexion of the neck while getting up from pillow or while eating something. So this is the action. So this is all about the sternocleidomastoid. Okay, now we'll study the anterior triangle of the neck. What is the anterior? We have done with the posterior triangle. Now we'll study the anterior triangle of the neck. Now the anterior triangle of the neck is, as you can see from the picture, the anterior triangle of the neck is bounded anteriorly by the median plane. So okay, this is the median plane, anteriorly by the median plane. Okay, posterior by the anterior border of your sternocleidomastoid, this, as we have already done with this, and superiorly by the base of the mandible. So this is your base of the mandible. This is your base of the mandible. Okay, so anteriorly by the median plane, this here, posteriorly by the anterior border of the sternocleidomastoid, and superiorly by the base of the mandible. Okay. Now the apex of triangle lies above the manubrium sterni. So both the triangles lies opposite. It's the posterior triangle apex lies at the upper side, and the inferior, this anterior triangle apex lies at the manubrium sterni. This is your manubrium sterni, so it lies here. This is the apex. So this is the basically the triangle. Okay. Now next is anterior subdivisions of anterior triangle. So subdivision of anterior triangle is, see, by the 4 infrahyoid and supraoid muscles. Okay, so this is, you know, this is your digastric triangle. Let me show you. First, this is your digastric muscle. So this is your digastric muscle. Okay, this is your digastric muscle, and this is your hyoid bone. This is your hyoid bone. Now this is the submental triangle. This is your submental triangle. Okay, now this is your muscular triangle, manubrium sterni, mastoid process. So, okay, and sternocleidomastoid, as you all know, this is the sternocleidomastoid, this posterior triangle, trapezius, carotic triangle. Okay, superior belly of omohyoid. Okay, so the supraoid muscles are the digastric, stylohyoid, mylohyoid, and genioid. There are 4 suprahyoid muscle over your, which are attaching the your hyoid bone to the various parts. Okay, so there is the digastric muscle. Okay, the superior belly of omohyoid, and the submental, this inferior belly of your digastric, means the other part of digastric is this. Okay, now inferior belly of omohyoid and the, excuse me. So this is the various part. Now there is division of this is submental triangle. Okay, submental, this is your submental triangle, submental triangle. Okay, now this is your muscular triangle, and this is your carotic triangle. This is your carotic triangle, this one you can see in the picture. Okay, So these are the various triangles which are present in the as the division of your interior triangle. Okay. Now digastric, now the various this, what is the boundaries of submental triangle? It is a median triangle and it is bounded by as it is bounded by on each side there is interior belly of corresponding digastric muscle. Okay, and its base is formed by the body of the hyoid bone. Okay, base is formed by the body of the hyoid bone. You can see here, this is the body of the hyoid bone. This is the two part of your digastric muscle. Change color. So this is the two part of the hyoid muscle. Okay, this is base. Now its apex lies at the chin. Its apex lies at your chin. Your apex is at the chin. Okay, and the floor of the triangle is formed by the right and left myloid muscles and the median raphe uniting them. The two contents. Now the contents are 2 to 4 submental lymph nodes and are situated in the superficial fascia between the anterior bellies and the posterior bellies. Okay, now and they drain the superficial tissues below the chin, the central below the chin, they below the central line. So various contents I can show you here. Okay, we are discussing the 2 to 4 small mental lymph nodes, the contents of this triangle. So these lymph nodes basically drains the superficial tissues below the chin, the central part of the lip, the adjoining gum, the anterior part of floor of the mouth and the tip of the tongue. So their efferents pass to the submandibular nodes, small submandibular veins join to form from the interior jugular veins. Okay, so these are the various contents of your this submental triangle. Now the digastric triangle. So the digastric triangle is formed by the this is the superficial. This superficial digastric triangle is formed by the base of the superficial structures. So this is also known as submandibular triangle. This is the area between the body of the mandible and the hyoid bone. Okay, superficial structures of this region lie in submental and digastric triangles and the deep structures. Okay, the boundaries of digastric triangles are the anterior inferiorly the interior belly of digastric. This is your anterior belly of digastric. See, this is your anterior belly of digastric. Okay, digastric muscle. And this is your posterior belly of digastric muscle. So anteriorly, antero-inferiorly, the border is by the this anterior belly of digastric muscle, and posterior-inferiorly by the posterior belly of the digastric muscle. This muscle. Okay, superiorly or base is by the mandible and a line joining the angle of the mandible and mastoid process. This is the mastoid process. This line joining, this is the your digastric muscle. Okay, the roof of the triangle is formed by the skin, the superficial fascia containing the platysma, cervical branch of facial nerve, and the ascending branch of the transverse anterior cutaneous nerve of the neck. Deep fascia which splits into two. Deep fascia which splits to enclose the submandibular salivary gland. The floor is formed by the mylohyoid muscle anteriorly and by the hyoglossus posteriorly. A small part of middle constrictor muscle of the phalanx appears in the floor. So these are the various boundaries of the digastric triangle. Now what is the carotid triangle and its boundaries? So now this is the carotid triangle. You can see here the carotid triangle. Now the carotid triangle provides a good view of all the large vessels and nerves of the neck, particularly when its posterior boundary is retracted slightly backwards. So the boundaries of carotid triangle are superiorly by the posterior belly of digastric muscle and styloid. So the boundary of the this carotid triangle, this is your superior belly, posterior belly of digastric. So this is by the your superior boundary, antero-inferiorly by the superior belly of omohyoid. This is your omohyoid, okay, and the posterior by the anterior border of your sternocleidomastoid. So this is your what you can say digastric, your carotid triangle, okay. So it's named because it contains the basic, you can in next slides we can see the contents are the carotid arteries, okay. Now the roof is formed by the skin, superficial fascia containing the cervical branch of facial nerve, and the floor of the transverse cutaneous nerve of the neck, investigating the layer of deep cervical fascia. And the floor is formed by the thyroid muscle, the hypoglossal, and the middle and inferior constructs of the pharynx. So now you can see, I can show you here. This is your carotid arteries. See why this is called as the carotid triangle. Here you can see the various arteries which are present in this triangle is the ascending pharyngeal artery. See, main the common carotid artery first, okay, and then the your branches of this common carotid artery is the external carotid artery, your external carotid artery, this whole, and the internal carotid artery, okay. It divides into this common carotid divides into two, external carotid and internal carotid in this carotid triangle, okay. Next is the branches of these arteries, this external carotid artery, say lingual artery, facial artery, superior thyroid artery, common carotid artery. So these are the branches of this artery. Now the internal jugular vein, and so now next is your vein. This is your internal jugular vein, okay. So see posterior auricular artery, occipital artery, these are the various branches of this your external carotid artery only, okay. Internal jugular vein, ascending pharyngeal artery, outline of the carotid triangle, okay. This. So these are the various contents of your this carotid triangle, okay. Now as is seen, the basic important triangle of this neck, the triangles of the neck is the anterior triangle, the posterior triangle, the carotid triangle, which is the forms of submental triangle, and the digastric triangles, and their boundaries and their contents which are present in these various triangles, okay. Thank you.